So you want to get into Dauntless. Hey everyone, GrandMarshall here, and welcome to Dauntless. It's a free-to-play Monster Hunter style game for the PC, but you can buy into it now to play the game and test the game. The Founders Alpha just ended a few days ago, and the closed beta kicked off shortly afterwards. I can imagine there's some fresh new Slayers entering the fields of closed beta, so I'm here to make sure you get yourself started on the right foot. All the footage you're about to see was taken during the Founders Alpha and was played with a keyboard and mouse, so keep that in mind as UI and text may have changed. So with that out of the way, let's begin. After logging in and creating your Slayer, the game will drop you into your first hunt. The first thing you're going to want to do is hit the Tab key. This will bring up your control layout whenever you've forgotten what a button does. If you've managed to forget which button accesses this screen, check the options menu. It's bound to be there somewhere. The game also starts you off using a basic sword. Swords, along with hammers, chain blades, and axes, are the 4 types of weapons you can craft and wield playing Dauntless, with one more weapon coming later down the line. Each weapon plays differently than the other, and each weapon has its own moveset and special abilities. For instance, the axe, my personal favorite, is a slow lumbering hulk of a weapon that can charge each swing to gain energy. Once you release the energy and hit with it, it gains a damage boost that can stack up to 3 times, dealing an insane amount of damage. Again, for reference to your weapons combos and abilities, make sure to hit that tab button. Your first fight in this game is against a very lowly Gnasher, your basic behemoth in Dauntless, and this one in particular is made just for this first fight. If you can't beat him, maybe consider practicing the controls away from it before engaging. Once you get into town after defeating it, you're basically now free to do whatever you want. However, I would recommend doing any quests in town that you see. You can find them by looking at the top of the screen and then looking at your compass. Quest progression in this game furthers you along to more hunts and behemoths, as well as gaining new recipes for items. Also, at this point, if you want to invite anyone to your squad or become friends with anyone, you can do so by typing this into your chat window in the bottom left-hand corner. You do /invite or /friend, followed by a space, followed by the username of that person you want to invite or friend. Once you want to go into a hunt, just find your nearest hunting board, pick a behemoth, and choose either the party or solo hunt. Personally, I like choosing solo hunt to get a feel for new behemoths and what their moves are, and sometimes if you're already geared enough, you can just defeat a behemoth on your own. Speaking of moves, each behemoth behaves differently, even ones of the same family. Rogue behemoths are weaker counterparts to their regular versions. They're there to dip your toes into fighting them, as well as a progression blocker before you can fight the real thing. The Gnasher you fought at the very beginning was the rogue version. The regular Gnasher, like most behemoths, will have newer moves as well as a rage mode. Once you do enough damage to a regular behemoth, it will begin to glow red, and during this time, all of its moves do more damage. However, during rage mode, it's easier to break off parts of that behemoth. Each behemoth has multiple points of its body that you can break or even completely remove. Break parts can be arms, wings, legs, heads, tails, claws, and even the body. You'll know you got a break point when you hear that nice crack sound. In this instance, you can actually cut off the tail of a Gnasher if you do enough targeted damage to it. Once you cut off its tail, it loses that whole hitbox, so he can no longer do tail stomps on you. The more important thing though is you can get that part for recipes and weapons and armor upgrades. The breakpoints are the hardest thing to do in a fight because it usually requires some sort of coordination, but the rewards are absolutely necessary. If you're not gearing up, the later behemoths are going to be a nightmare to fight. When you kill your target, you will get an ether core as your reward. Depending on how well you did during the fight, as well as some luck, you can get a higher rarity. To open the core, simply go into town and find one of these things. Each behemoth drops a core with their own loot table, so if you're looking for Shrike parts from an ether core, go fight a Shrike. The parts inside, as well as the parts you broke off of the behemoth during the fight, are needed to create and upgrade better armor and weapons from recipes. Now speaking of recipes, during a hunt, you can explore the island you're on without actually having to fight the behemoth. You've got a whole 30 minutes to kill the thing, so you might as well walk around and scavenge. Examples of things you can grab are ore deposits, rams, mushrooms, and even plants. Each biome has different plants and animals, so they'll also have different items for crafting. So make sure you take a look around when you're someplace new. You'll need it all because most of it is used for healing items, various potions, and even armor and weapon upgrades. Trust me, it pays off to be a hoarder. Before I end the video, I want to make one very important point about fighting behemoths in a group. The more damage a behemoth does overall to players, the higher the threat level increases, the number located at the top left corner of the screen next to your health. If enough damage has been dealt to the Slayer to reach 100 threat, reviving players is no longer allowed. The only way to reduce threat is to force the behemoth to retreat. Keep that in mind when you're in a group. And that's all I've got for you to start yourself off in Dauntless. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Trust me, it really does help the channel grow. Thanks again, everyone, and I'll see you next time.